I see out of the corner of my eye a hand and an arm come over my back. We were dipping our fingers into the cup and putting it on our face. The one and only time that I have almost gotten kicked out of a hospital. Hey guys, what's going on? It's your boy Saglitch, aka Sag. And what can I say? But it is summertime. Your boy's repping some nice little summer attire that his wife bought for him. But that's neither here nor there. Nor do I want to bring up the fact that I haven't uploaded in quite some time. You know how it is, life moves on, things happen, but hey, here I am. We're going to keep going. This weekend, on Sunday, I was able to contact my roommate from college who I haven't seen in about 2.5 years. So it's been quite some time. He is actually visiting Disney, which is 10 minutes down the road from me, and we decided to meet up for at least some catching up to do for a couple of hours and have some dinner with him and his daughter. During that time, I was thinking back at all the things and shenanigans that we got through because he was my roommate for technically 3 years, even though he likes to comment that it was only 1 year because most of the time when my wife was at college with me, that's where we met, that I spent most of my time with her while she was there. She graduated in 3 years, so my senior year, she wasn't there, so I spent a lot of time with the people that I live with and a lot of time getting myself into some trouble at times. Going back to reflecting with my roommate, maybe the top three stories I remember from college and definitely throughout my senior year. It just kind of gives some backstory, not that it's very suspicious or a little, as you kids would say it nowadays, sus. We had a very good relationship. He actually was on the football team with me for 3 years. His junior year, he had to walk away because of some problems medically wise or health wise. That didn't deter us from hanging out. That didn't deter us and make me think otherwise from him because, again, his health is more important than football. Before we get into it, sorry, little little hair going on there. Before I do go into it, though, this is kind of to tell you that our fates were intertwined immediately. Is when we were doing college visits. I don't remember. We weren't really. It wasn't a recruit visit. It wasn't a football thing. It was for the actual school itself. We were going to the auditorium for the main part of the visit. It was me and my dad, and then him and his mom. Come to find out, we were those weird little jocks that were high school seniors going into college, and we wore our school jacket. Had my blue and gray, blue and silver jacket on, and he had his red and black one on. Our P's matched because he went to Pisgah, I went to Polk County. That was just the kind of fate that brought us together. We knew each other before even our freshman year and just went from there. Fast forward 4 years from then, our senior year, we got into some shenanigans. And although there are plenty of stories that I can talk about, there's only three that I want to share. Needless to say, we were comfortable with each other. We lived with 5 guys in a house. It's the RA downstairs, 2 roommates downstairs as well across from the RA, and my roommate and I had the top half of the house to ourselves, even though technically speaking there was like an unfinished part that we weren't supposed to get into, which caused some damage in there. We spent basically, when it wasn't football, we spent every waking hour with each other. When we weren't in class, we were hanging out. We got into a lot of trouble at times. We definitely played some video games, definitely hung out. And what can you say when you got a rock band slash guitar hero guy as great as my roommate was and a singer whose vocals sound like a mixture between Fergie and Jesus? You can't go wrong there. You kind of have to understand, again, our relationship. We're very comfortable with each other. We're comfortable with ourselves. And there would be multiple times when I would be showering or having to do something in the restroom and he would just walk in. Like, I remember multiple times in the middle of a shower and I grab my towel and he's sitting there on the bathroom using it, just saying, "What's up?" And to a lot of people, that's kind of weird. But at the same time, I mean, look, it's not like he was like peeping the shower. It wasn't like I was peeping like him using the bathroom. Again, not going down a rabbit hole that there's not thereof, but just want to give you the conversation and understanding how comfortable we were with each other. There was one night that I grabbed a towel, walked into the shower, and usually the layout was there was basically a loft. My bed was right in front of the closet. There was a couch attached to the side of my bed, the TV, and Tim actually moved his bed because they were bunks originally. He moved his bed into the utilities closet so that he can have his quote unquote own room. So I didn't really see him. I thought he might have been like downstairs or out to dinner or whatever. And so I grabbed my towel, go into the shower, and started doing my thing. Showered, all that good stuff. Got out, deodorant, all the rituals that you always do, brush your teeth, all that good stuff. And I remember putting on boxers and a pair of shorts. And I was like, I peeped the utilities closet. I was like, yo, Tim. Didn't see him. Didn't see him on the couch, anything. I was like, it's kind of weird, but whatever. I'm sure he's going to come up in a couple minutes. And so I just jumped over the futon into the bed. I didn't make my bed every day. And there was like a huge pile of blankets I just kind of like made regular to go underneath. But there was like it should have been like a dead giveaway, but there was just a big pile. So I just kind of rolled over, was watching TV, got sucked into some kind of show. And all of a sudden I see out of the corner of my eye, a hand and an arm come over my back and put their hand on my waist. And I jumped about 3 feet high out of the bed running. And Tim pops his head up over the covers. He's like, where are you going, sweetie? and I had no idea that he was there. It scared the shit out of me. And the fact of the matter was that I didn't know that he had been there the entire time in my bed. And it was kind of weird, but at the same time, it was hilarious. I got it. It was a prank. It is what it is. But definitely an experience that taught me 2 things: to always check, not just under the bed, but on top of the bed. And 2, don't trust where he's at any point of the day. Story number 2, I was a football player. I know I mentioned this earlier. I played all 4 years. I was never a starter. The closest I was second string, and most of the time I was on the practice squad just trying to work my way up. The fact of the matter is I had my scholarship. I'm a decent sized guy. I mean, I'm big, but I wasn't like collegiate starter kind of big. And I know what you're saying, Seth, I was watching some Coastal Carolina game and that center's only 5'8". Well, hey, good for him. At our school, it didn't work out to the fact that there were people better than me. Is what it is. It happens. On Saturdays when it was a home game, the football players still went down, grabbed their jerseys to support the guys. And usually the jerseys that we got were the really nice, like new black ones that you got to sit in the crowd, hang out with, whatever. I remember we were winning, and it was just so unbearably hot that day. I forgot who we were playing. I decided to kind of kick out the third quarter, bring my stuff downstairs to the training people, let them have it to wash, all that good stuff, and then walk back to the townhome that we had. We were kind of just hanging out. We ordered a pizza, Papa John's. It was the first year that the school allowed that the meal plan be through as well as spending money for Papa John's, so we ordered a pizza. While it came, so we just kind of like waited on everybody else to come through, and we decided we had a nice big dining room table that we had set up just for beer pong, but it wasn't really beer. What we did was we had clear Solo cups and we poured water in it, but we had 2 different highlighters that we poked the bottom out of and put them into the 2 different sides. So one side was orange, one side was yellow. And so we had a really cool setup, and we had these black lights all across the room. It was all sorts of fun going on. It was hot that day. So for some reason, we're so hot that we took our shirts off and we're just sitting there practicing back and forth, playing, just goofing around, talking. And it got to the point where it was so hot that we said bump it. I mean, I'm it's not like I'm getting naked. So we just kind of like put our shorts down and we were just practicing in our boxers. Time got away from us. We were sitting there talking, have a good time. And all of a sudden our roommates, or housemates, I guess you would call them, came in. And again, college kids, we don't really care what was going on. And it was the housemate's girlfriend who came in first, and then the housemate's mom and dad, who we were really comfortable with, come in. And they're like, oh, okay, so that's what we're doing. Well, by that time, we were so into the game, goofing off, hanging out, that we were dipping our fingers into the cup and putting it on our face. So that if you were to put it, you turn a light on like a regular light, you wouldn't have seen it. But the fact is our entire face had like war paint going on that we were practicing back and forth. And so they came in, we were like, oh, hey guys, what's going on? We realized that we still weren't wearing pants. So we quickly got them on, We continued to play though. We had a great night. That was it. But it's really strange from the outside looking in to come into two guys that you live with, having their parents come in and having the girlfriend come in and be like, what are these two weirdos doing? So definitely we're the weirdos of the house, but we're having a great time doing it. So it is what it is. So for the last story, the one and only time I have almost gotten kicked out of a hospital. It was the start of the second semester of my senior year. And it just so happened this was the second time that we've ever had a class together. It was 8 o'clock every single day of the week. Spanish one that we haven't taken. We put it off to our senior years. My roommate Tim, he came down with what we thought was the flu. He was going to doctors, and it got to the point where he was so bad that I got a text one night in my night class from our RA saying, "Hey Seth, just a heads up, we don't want to worry you. We want to let you know where we're at. We had to take Tim to the ER. He's not looking too good. So when you get a chance or when you want to, you can meet us here at the hospital." So I did. Naturally, after the night class finished, I met my roommate. Well, I met my housemates at the ER. Who he was to the point where he basically couldn't breathe, so they put him in. So I was just kind of getting an update of what was going on. Someone ran and got dinner. I believe it was cookout. I decided to stay because I got there the latest, and plus I was the one who actually had a room with him. I had his parents' contact information. Worst case, anything happens. They allowed us back. It was me and the RA that went back. The two other guys had to go back because they had to study for a test the next morning. So we got to the back room and we're just like, "Hey, what's going on? Are you okay? Whatever, blah, blah, blah." And he was just hooked up, looking normal. You can tell he was a little short of breath, but he was hooked up to a EKG, all the natural things that you guys are always hooked up to when you go to a hospital. The nurse was coming in, kind of giving us some updates, saying, "Hey, he's technically got shortness of breath, all this stuff," and come to find out, he was diagnosed with an enlarged heart and he had rheumatic fever, which still to this day haven't looked it up. Don't really care to. Don't want to. Fact is that he was basically his heart was pumping too much, or sorry, it wasn't getting enough oxygen because his heart was so big, I guess. Doctors can't explain it. Don't really care to. I'm not a physician or a doctor, so don't look at me for medical advice. Either way, knew for a fact it was the enlarged heart and the rheumatic fever that was the issue. So we're hanging out, whatever, blah, blah, blah. RA had to go, so RA went. I was going to stick with them at least until we got some sort of option. I didn't really care about the class the next day. My buddy was in pain. My buddy was worried. Well, he wasn't really worried, but I didn't want him to spend the night at the hospital without having the ability to have some sort of update for his parents. Or even myself. I was more worried, I think, than he was. But we were just hanging out, watching TV, whatever, and the nurse keeps coming in, going out, coming in, going out. And we have this kind of like buddy-buddy, very close relationship at this point. We got to the point where when you would go out to dinner, if it was just you and then us two, that the third person would be really irritated because we would just push each other's buttons and then push their buttons. Anytime the nurse came in, we were always joking around, whatever. And I just, that year, or the year before, had to watch One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest for a film study in English class. So if you guys have never seen it, it's a great movie. At the end, the main character, I believe it was either electroshock therapy or he was lobotomized to the point where he was no longer himself. And the person that he made the strongest connection with, who was a mute Native American, very big guy, felt so compassionate for the guy that he was no longer himself. So he took the pillow and just snuffed him, like completely murdered him, completely suffocated him to death because he was no longer himself. Well, right before the nurse comes in, I said, "Tim, if it's time to go, it's time to go." And I'm just jokingly to kind of like get off a little bit of the seriousness to kind of alleviate it. So I grabbed his pillow and acted like I was smothering him. And the nurse comes in right when that was happening. And she turns to me and she goes, "What are you doing?" Tim, of course, I give the pillow back to him. Tim gets up. He's like, "Oh, we're just playing. We're just joking around, whatever." And she goes, "Well, I need you guys to stop because we need to get regular heartbeats going so we can monitor you." Fine, whatever. I understand that. I mean, hey, you got to understand what's regular in order to see what's irregular. So I'm just sitting there kind of like this, and she's doing her thing. getting her stethoscope monitored up. She puts a little blood pressure monitor, the little pad that you put on your arm to gauge the blood pressure. You guys don't know if you're laughing or you're having a good time or whatever. It kind of like doesn't function correctly. So I'm sitting there making him laugh like nonstop. We're just goofing off. We're two guys just being goofy, trying to alleviate the seriousness that he's at the ER. And the nurse turns to me and she goes, "All right, guys, I've really got to get you to be serious right now because I got to get this." 2 seconds later, I'm like, and so Tim starts laughing again. And she looks at me. I'm just like, start doing it again. Had to stop again, do it again, start laughing again, to the point where we were both just dying laughing. We couldn't stop. And the nurse goes, "Look, this is your last warning." Turns to me, not Tim, but me, and says, "This is your last warning. If you can't be serious to the point that we get this information, I'm going to kick you out of this room, kick you out of the hospital, and you're not going to be allowed to come back while he's being treated here." So at that point, I kind of had to tighten up and be the mature, serious person that I am. Needless to say, when we're together, we can cause a lot of problems, and not the good kind. We can get in trouble. And even the fact is, over this weekend, the fact that he had his daughter with him, I had my wife and foster son with us, and we were goofing off at Red Lobster because we couldn't find anywhere else to eat. Needless to say, there were a couple times where my wife gave us the stern look, and we actually had to be, a little bit more serious than what we were taking ourselves. It's always great to see my friend. It's always great to relive those memories in my head, and it's great to talk to him about those things. It's just great to see how mature he's become over the past couple of years and how great of a dad that he is to his daughter. Tim, if you ever see this, you probably won't because I don't really share my information stuff out there with my friends and family. I just want to tell you, I enjoy you immensely. I have the utmost respect for you. You are an amazing dad for what I see. I just hope that your daughter gets all your great qualities and even all your quirky qualities, because I can see that you do love her, and I can see that you're an amazing dude. So anyone else watching this, hey, don't at me at some weird stuff. Don't get weird in the comment section. I mean, hey, it's what we did. It's what happened. Things happen. There are a lot more stories that go with it, but not at this point in time. But with that being said, guys, I appreciate you sitting down with me for story time. I apologize for not uploading more regularly, but I promise once I get back into the groove, I'll start doing a little bit better. It's the end of the video, so let's go ahead and do it. Like if you did, comment if you want, subscribe if you haven't, and make sure that you're having a great day, great week, great month, and great year, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.